place to be. And boy, am I excited this week. The positive mental attitude has paid off all year, and we've hit first place amongst the Fantasy Take TV podcasters. It's been a while coming. And look, this is why George was like, look, if you're going to be annoying to listen to, you can at least host. And so that's why you've got me this week. But winners are grinners. We'll cop that on the chin. Eno, George, as always, how are we this week?
Good, mate. Good. I'm happy for you. At least someone's ahead of George this year. Well, it's not me. I feel like I'm last every year for the last 2 or 3 years, so it's nothing new for me. But yeah, happy to see you've made a big comeback along the last couple of months. So I mean, it's shown that it is possible, right? That you can be 20K, 20 something K around the buys, and you can sort of make a charge home with the right players and the right team structure and right primos. But yeah. Well done to you, George. How are you? You're not feeling the same, mate?
I liked it better last week, but I do just remind myself that I didn't get the Wits head start like JD did. So I've done well to get near. I know you come back with Brody and all that, so we've done that 10 weeks in a row now. So let's go over that another, maybe next year we'll remind ourselves of that. But for me, for my rank this week, I was ranked 2K. I'm ranked 2K on the dot and scored 2,400. And 1, so no trades. I know, JD, you got a trade, which is kind of nice. You can get out of a Sinclair or whatnot. But yeah, no trades for me. Just stick to what I've got this week. Hopefully Dale doesn't get tagged. For me, my 3-2-1s for this week. Oh, how many negatives can I give out? So my negative 3 votes. Number 1, Jack Steele. What was he doing on the weekend? Just worst game he's ever played, I think, since... I don't know, maybe his first or second year. The next 2 negative votes to Samuel Walsh. Just not clicking at the moment for Sammy, but I need a bit more from him.
Lost CBAs on the weekend as well, which was not expected given the outs in their midfield.
I was just thinking, why is he starting at half forward all the time? They have no mids.
Don't get it.
1 vote. Your mate, and I give it to Jack Crisp. It was all right at halftime, then didn't do anything in the third quarter. But the positive 3 has to go to... I'm going to give it to Oscar McInerney, even though I was negative 40 points on Shrek. The fact that he's scoring 110s now is quite nice. 2 votes to James Sicily, who had a role change and scored well in that. A bit random in the midfield. And give the 1 to Jordan Dawson, who was outstanding. What about you, JD?
I wasn't going to jump right into that yet. I was going to tell everyone about the lovely agenda we had first before we jumped into our ranks in the 3-2-1s. That's all good. I mean, that's why I'm the host and you've been relegated. But yeah, so we've got, I guess, a little bit to go over this week. It's hopefully going to be a shorter week. We say that every week. It's a bit of a meme now. But we'll go over the players that are likely to get tagged this week. So if you do have a trade or two, these are the players you should be looking to trade out. We'll also look at players that could go big this week as a one-off trade-in target. Unfortunately, Jessica Cameron won't be on that list. And then we'll go over some captains and Q&A. But yes, George, 2K rank flat, 2401. Eno, what about yourself? What was your rank and score? And what was your 3-2-1s?
It was looking pretty good heading into Sunday, but couple blokes got tagged, and which is obviously a topic of this week, but ended with 2396, so just under 2400, and went down a bit to 2500 in the ranks. So yeah, I know I said last week top 1K is a small chance, but it's obviously no chance now. Hoping just to get back inside the 2K with the big one this week. The negatives, 3 to Jack Steele as well. George already sort of went over that. That was the poorest game I think any of us have seen him play since sort of becoming a midfield sort of mainstay. 2, I think I give to Merritt again, just unable to handle those tags. Still a problem for him. And then the 1, tough, but I think I'll give it to Bailey Smith. I got him back in, held the faith that he'll get me some points in return. He was on 55, I want to say, at halftime, and just sort of went missing in the second half and finished on 80 odd. So give it to him. I could have given it to Nick Dacos, but he also got tagged as a first-year player, so a bit stiff to give it to him. And then the positives, I'll give the 3 maybe to someone like an Andy Brayshaw, who was one of the blokes who got tagged but managed to pull through with a 106. So rewarding for that. A 2, maybe probably a Jack McRae for getting a decent score for us. I know it's not too relevant as far as ownership, but he actually played quite well for them. And then probably maybe a one similar to George Dawson, who's just keeps on keeping on. He's a chance for D1. I said in my video at the end of the year, he only needs to, assuming Sinclair gets tagged, he needs to beat Sicily by I think about 20 points or 30 points, and he gets that banner. So that was me. How did you go, JD?
Yes, so I scored a 24.98. It looked like it was going to be a little bit better, but along with many others, Merit on Sunday did not help. And then there were a couple of players that didn't have like mills and stuff that went quite large, which helped others around me. But yeah, that was enough to move me up to 1.8k overall, which is good. First time inside the top 2k this year, I want to say. So finally got there in the end. The negative 3-2, like my team looks pretty good on paper this week. There's only about 5 players who went under 100. So I think Crisp is the obvious -3, just because, pretty sick of it, to be honest. Pretty sick of it, Crisp. And every other defender I had went a 100 plus apart from Crisp. So he doubly deserves it because it just ruins the screenshot. I think Merritt and Neil are probably the other two that I could give the 2 and the 1 to. Like, just didn't handle tags very well. I was tempted to give it to Laird. First sub-ton since he came back from injury, but he's probably undeserving of a rocket. And then on the positive side, I think it's very hard to go past Dawson for the 3. Just been an absolute pleasure to pick him and own him all year, start to finish, and definitely one that's on the short list already for next year. The 2 can go to, I want to say Cogs, just because Dogs are pretty hard to score against. So to pull out a 116 against the Dogs, it's pretty impressive, I would say. And then, I don't know, there's lots of good scores around here. I'm not going to give it to Cripps, even though that's pretty good. I should have given it to
Shrek.
Yeah,
I was going to say
Darcy.
Yeah.
Darcy. I figured everyone else was going to pick Darcy, so I had Dawson, and I just forgot about him. So let's give Darcy another point there as well. He definitely deserved it. And I'll tell you what, there was another ruck this week that could have got points, and that is Max Gone, except none of us own him. 129 looked very good. And I don't know if you guys saw this during the halftime. I think it was the Essendon Port game. No one would be watching this. And it was probably many of us Essendon fans that were looking forward to the ads.
I was watching.
But Max Gone was in a ad. We're actually co-workers now, us and Maxi Gone. And did either of you catch this ad?
I think I've seen him before.
I've seen it on YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
So he's standing in front of a mirror, hyping himself up, and then it cuts back and it's him in the little locker room full of the other guys, and it's just really awkward. But yeah, I mean, what's not awkward is Eno, who is going to do a much better ad read for Manscaped and our sponsors for the show this week.
Look, I beg to differ, but Manscaped, of course, they are our sponsors, and Father's Day is coming up. So I think that's the main thing. 4th of September, it's only a couple of weeks away. Got to lock in your Father's Day present. We all hate buying presents, so I think it's really easy just to, get your dad something that he'll actually use. You can obviously 20% off using the code FTTV. So keep it in mind. I'm probably going to do it. It's just an easy out for me and a lot of us. The Performance Package 4.0 will be here just in time. So they got many other products as well. Not the only thing you'd have to get is that package. They got, a waterproof spotlight, boxer briefs, as George loves wearing, and then the Weed Whacker, of course, for those Italian noses. So, I think there's plenty there. Look on the website. There's actually more than just even just shavers and stuff. There's plenty of accessories and stuff that you might think your dad needs. So check it out.
I was going to say the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 4,000K LED light in it and waterproof, so you can do it wherever you want to do it, in the bath, if that's your thing.
In the dark.
So wherever you want to do it, preferably indoors, not in the public, I guess. I don't know.
At night.
Totally up to you. The options are endless with the light and the waterproofness.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I don't want to picture what you get up to in your free time, George. I'm getting worried. All right, let's move to the big topic this week. And George, you've gone through and identified a bunch of players that look like they could get tagged this week. Shall we start with the top?
Yeah, so tagging is a massive issue at the moment, and I wonder if it's going to get more popular. You see in the media all the time, I can't remember who says it, why wouldn't you send your? It might be Xavier Ellis.
Yes, that's he always says every week.
He says that why wouldn't you use like your worst player to tag out your best player? Like we see that, like Ryan Clark, Winhager will be a good player, but he's really really young. So these guys the tagging is out of control at the moment. So Finn McGuinness could go to Libba or Dale. I honestly don't know who it is that he goes to because both have been tagged this year.
And both types of players, right? Finn's been to halfbacks and he's wingers and he's been to inside mid. So you really don't know what they're thinking.
Yep,
and went to Shea on the weekend, shut him out pretty well. He's done what Ed Langdon in the past, Sinclair, others. So yeah, it's tough to know.
I think Ryan Clark is like $1.01 to go to Sinclair. He just does all the jobs on the defenders. He plays that defensive forward role. Now, Willem Drew could go to Dawson or Laird. And in the Discord I was reading, Pizza Safety in the Discord was saying that Dawson got tagged by Drew when he was on the wing against Port in the showdown early in the year. But they moved Dawson like everywhere, like forward, back, play like all positions early in the year. But when he was on the wing...
playing then?
Good question.
Oh, I can't remember. I think he was. I think Laird missed the first 2. And that was round 3 or 4, something like that. So he could go to either of those. Matheson could
was
go to
his
Oliver
return game from injury. He played on the return game, so his other 93 this year was against them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Matheson could go to Oliver or Petrarca. It's a little hard to tell just because Matheson. I'm not sure if it actually was a tag, but Matheson was definitely on steel for the most part. Neil versus Harms. Now Harms has not played for 3 weeks, but they used Harms on Neil earlier in the year, and Brayshaw versus Perryman. Perryman went to Libba. Libba still turned up, but his fantasy score was really, really low. So I actually quite like Perryman. Pretty strong body in the midfield. And actually one more, Winhager could go to a Callum Mills or a Luke Parker. So a lot of players to navigate here. Are there any players you guys would think about? Are you guys planning to trade out? I know, JD, you have a trade. I know in your video you said Sinclair. Is he still the one that you're looking to trade out? Are you worried about any others that you'd rather trade out? What are you sort of thinking on priority trade outs here?
I think so. I mean, Sinclair's shown that he is susceptible to drop like a 70 or whatever with that tag. Even though Dawson was tagged by Drew, he still went 123. Part of that was due to the goal, but he was on track for like 100 anyway. The other tags, it's a little bit hard to trade out, right? So I have Petrarca and Oliver. If one of them is going to get tagged by beast mode, I don't know which one, and I wouldn't want to risk trading out the wrong one when I could just trade out Sinclair, who's guaranteed. And then the only other one is Neil. And I think the good part with Harms not being best 22 up to this point is that if he is named this week, he's tagging. Like, yeah, that's a very clear signal that he's going to do that. In which case, I think it is more of a, do I trade out Neil? Do I trade out Sinclair? The other thing about trading out Sinclair over some of these others is there's a lot of money in his head. So he's the top priced or second top price behind Dawson defender at the moment. So I can trade him to anyone. Some of these other guys that you trade out, you just don't have the same money in to get really nice options. So yeah, I think it's still Sinclair at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, like, you could just trade out an underperformer instead, like Crisp, but who am I going to trade him to? No money in him. So yeah, I think it's Sinclair.
Can I ask you? So you have Andy Brayshaw. Mm-hmm. We saw Perryman completely blanket Zach Merritt. Mm-hmm. Are you worried about that matchup at all? Like you wouldn't put the VC or anything on him, but like, no. Would you, if you had a trade, if
I had one, Sinclair or Brayshaw, yeah, is the question. I think I would do Brayshaw because way I see it, and I was thinking about this, I think like Sinclair is the clear and obvious one. It's happening. And I'd be honest, I didn't catch much of the West Coast game, and to be honest, Nelson's probably not the best tagger in the world, is he? Whereas Perryman's shown that he can do it quite well. I think there's more upside to going, getting rid of a mid that's going to drop a 60 and trying to get one that possibly can go 140 compared to going Sinclair to maybe a defender who might drop 100. You know what I mean? There's more upside in point gain. So initially I was like Sinclair probably because it's the most clear and obvious. But, he's still going to get kickouts and stuff like that, isn't he? So points can still come quite easily without can't tag him in the goal square. So I think Brayshaw maybe, because you can just get like a LDU that can go massive, or whoever. I haven't really looked, but more upside. So, what do you guys think?
Just looking at Sinclair, by the way, how many sub 100s do you think he's had since round 9?
Be lucky to have one, I reckon.
Yeah, he's had exactly one, which was against the Swans, where he scored a 79. And I think that's where Clark announced himself as a tagger. Yep.
And Finn McGuinness went to Finn McGuinness tagged him, Sinclair, but it was released at halftime, so he still managed to ton up, but didn't have the best first half. I reckon it was on 40 or something, 30 something, 40 something at halftime.
I just think for a halfback, it's kind of easy to still maybe find the footy, like I said, through kickouts or even just through handball receives, and you know what I mean? Easy stuff. Whereas if you're a mid with a guy in your back all game, we've seen it. They're stuck to contested handballs, and that's it. They can't really get free and do much else. I know Tuke handled one really well, tackled his way to a ton, but Andy, I'm not so sure he's fully able to handle them yet. But yeah, I just think there's more upside.
Much better this year than last year for Andy. Yeah, dealing with tags.
Yeah, I just think there's more upside. You can maybe, as I said, jump on a mid that goes 140 for the week, and you've made, you've gained a lot of points there. So yeah, not sure who that would be. Again, 560K is so. Yeah, I know. I recommended LDU last week for Cripps, and he went nuts. Would have loved to be owning him the last couple of months. Been really good to watch. But yeah, what mids that you wouldn't have a really good matchup around his price. I'm not too sure. Maybe something we could look at.
Well, interestingly, LDU looked like he was going to be on for 200 just about, and they sent Sam Berry to him. So I think in the first half he had 25 touches, something like that. Yeah, second half, I think about 9 or 10.
10. Yep. Interesting. I guess it depends who you don't have and who you'd be getting in. So,
yeah.
All right. So Sinclair, Brayshaw, probably the top 2 trade out targets are the ones we've mentioned then, and then potentially Neil if Harms is in. Should we talk about some players that could go big in the final round? And I think we'll start with
options to go.
Yeah. So Sinclair, I think the number 1 option here is Sicily for those that don't have him, which I think is just me. Everyone else is probably looking at other people because I think most people actually own Sicily. But the Dogs, we saw against GWS on the weekend, they were happy to let defenders just play kick to kick in the back half. And if that goes up, Sicily should get involved and get a lot of cheap points on the back of that, which, very promising, should have a decent game. And that Dogs forward line isn't particularly good anyway, so even when coming in, I think there'll be lots of chances for spoils and intercept possessions.
Yep. Shannon Hearn, I think he looks like the 1 week punt for, playing Geelong down there.
Game. I don't think it's his farewell game, though. I'm not sure they're retiring him or not.
No, but I don't. That has anything to do with it. He's just he's actually farming points at the moment.
He's a 129 average over the last 3.
Yeah, 110 over the last 5. He's just kick-ins galore, and Geelong down at Geelong. I imagine he gets quite a few. So he's the same price as Sinclair, pretty much, almost 10K off or something. So maybe him. Otherwise, Angus Brayshaw. You guys, I know you own in the other format. Would he be one you'd look at? Brisbane away, not the best matchup in the world, but
I think Brisbane's not too bad for midfielders, strangely enough.
Okay.
I love the Angus Brayshaw pick. He's gone 110, I believe, 4 weeks in a row, 110 plus, like 2 110s, 2 120s, I want to say.
He's 5 round 110 in Supercoach.
Yeah, I think one of those games he wasn't a mid from memory.
Yep.
CBA's jumped up as well. I think they were in the 70s this week, maybe 60s or 70s. So he's the one that I like the most if you don't have Sicily for going from Sinclair to somebody.
I'll tell you what, if he's still a defender next year as well and he keeps this role, he's actually a very startable asset next year too, which is interesting. The other one on the cheaper side we should mention is probably Aaron Hall, whose injury is always a concern with him, but it's 1 week and it's against his old side in Gold Coast. So I guess that is the only other option I'd probably talk about.
Yep.
Still makes me nervous, but you can't deny this. It's only 1 game now, so you can't really say no. There's more chance he plays for the game than he doesn't at this point.
I mean, it's the same thing with Hearn, right? Hearn's old and massive calf history. So I think they're in the same category of high upside, high injury risk. Hearn's been in better form, but probably has a worse matchup.
A sneaky one. We have to wait for teams, of course, and Geelong. You never know what the hell they're going to do. But Blitzarves, I don't know the Stanley injury. He got injured, but I don't know what the hell it is. I haven't even done any research on it. But you'd assume they'd probably just rest Stanley.
I think Seglin might be back though. But if Blitz was solid, I really like.
They might even rest Blitz, but who knows?
And just on the whole thing as well, actually, I think he's been scoring much better without Stevenson down back. So Stevenson went off with an injury in that game. I don't know what it was.
Forward anyway.
He was forward anyway.
Oh, was he? Okay, fine. Ignore me then.
They moved him. That's about it. Saad, I mean, no one's respected him all year, but he's literally a top 7 defender for total points and average, 7th in both categories. And probably no one's blinked at him, but he's had a really good year. But
I think it seems exciting. It's like a okay matchup, but yeah. I mean, they're winning in, and I feel like Saad, he's got a bit of
for those games.
Bit of big game about him, so I could see him going decent in that.
All right, top 3. If we're going to wrap it off for Sinclair replacements, who you guys got?
Sicily, Gus, and then probably Shannon Hearn. I think you'd expect they concede a lot.
Give another one maybe, because assists, assuming most. I think he's like 90% owned in the top 5K.
I actually love Perryman in the midfield. I know he's taken, but he had like a 130 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Could be sneaky one. Wins good contested ball. Even Whitfield as well. So Perryman / Whitfield. Whitfield's actually, I think, 105 to 110 post-buy. Of course, you take out the hip injury game.
Yep. What could have been, Whitfield? What could have been? You could be sitting instead of bloody Jack Crisp. All right. So
you got one?
Yeah, I was going to say, moving on next, shall we go look at some midfield replacements then?
Yep. I'll just say Shannon Hearn's my number 1, I think. Okay. Absolute crap ton of kickouts there. JD, would he be yours or you with Gussie Brayshaw?
I'm going Sicily 1.
But besides him.
Besides him.
For others.
I'd probably go back to the well with Aaron Hall.
Love it. Yep.
Forgot to mention Himmelberg as well. Solid option.
Yeah, I just not sure I love it.
He's warming up in the forward line every week.
Yeah,
making people nervous.
baiting people. Yeah. Okay, some midfield options then with Lockie Neal as a potential trade out or Brayshaw as a potential trade out. Who have we got?
I think
who knows. Ollie Wines always does well against the Crows. Crows give up points every week, and obviously, I've said it every week, but Crows midfield is led and a bunch of players that have played 20 or less games, so don't mind that.
Yeah,
Zach Butters as well. I know he's a forward. Get to that. Butters has been on a heater the past month. Kicked 3 goals against Essendon.
Love that trade back.
Yeah. Probably outscored English.
Yeah. Let's not talk about it. I think I'm looking firmly at JD for this one. Darcy Parish, you're probably the only one that watched the game. Did he look good enough to bring in for one week game against Richmond?
This is how I watched the game, all right? So I don't have much to give you. He looked okay. It was just like a very standard Darcy Parish game. I don't think he scored particularly well.
No,
yeah. Like I know his form against Richmond's been pretty
done
good.
very well in the past.
Yeah. I think he had a 166, which was a dream time game because he lost a medal.
50 odd touches.
Yeah, and they call him Smeagol the way he seeks out gold. But yeah, like I don't know. I still think there's probably better options than Parish, but just a little bit unknown. Form hasn't been great since coming back from injury. I think like the really obvious ones would be anyone that are playing the bad team. So if you don't have Took Miller against North, I think that's a really obvious one. You could probably look at Noah Anderson as well against North. I think that's like interesting, high upside. You've already mentioned LDU on, other way around. Gold Coast been giving up points, so I don't mind that. Cam Guthrie against West Coast, but I think they're going to be in second gear. So I'm a little bit nervous about going the Geelong boys.
Mm-hmm.
as George mentioned, Port against Crom. I think Wines is reasonable. Boak is maybe reasonable as an option there as well. Dogs against Hawks, you could pretty much pick any of the Dogs midfielders for the most part, although I don't know, they've been a bit rough in form as well. It's just they need the win to get in, but they'll so that I think they're fine. Carlton against Collingwood. Collingwood give up points, so Cripps I think is probably a good option again as a captain. You'd imagine he stands up in that one. Walsh, we've kind of talked about. Normally I'd be all over that, and he has really good track record against Collingwood, including some near double tons. But his role's been pretty poor.
Yeah,
I think it's more form than the role, because even at stoppages, he's not getting his hands on it. That's just my observation anyway.
The game on the weekend, he had like 12 touches early and 10 were contested. But what I observed was he just seemed panicky and short of time, which isn't the Walsh that we're used to. Normally, he's pretty good in traffic and still makes the right choice. But there was a lot of handballs that were going to opposition hands and that type of stuff. Just not the normal stuff you'd see from Walsh. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it could be a form thing, but yeah.
That being said, the Collingwood starting midfield this week, no Tate Adams at the moment. Side bottom, Josh Dacos, Jack Crisp, Scott Pendlebury. They're the 4 mids that they used on the weekend. I assume De Goey's coming back, and he'll probably line up on Cripps. But I'm pretty confident Walsh will have a really good game, because just watching him, he's been playing on very difficult opponents. But this week, not so much.
Yeah.
So I don't think Walsh is the worst option.
Yep. I believe he had a big game too against them in 2021, like a 190. So definitely capable. I think Wines, as JD, I think it makes a lot of sense. Just he's found a bit of form. He can always drop the stinker, but he's in a good patch of form. And Porter actually playing quite well. But I think for me, playing a bit of fun on the edge last round, Noah Anderson, I think, might be just a really fun one for last round against North. Gold Coast disappointed. Probably they're not getting in the finals race. Probably want to cap off the year with a big win. And he'll probably be part of that. But he does have his issues sometimes with disposal, which is why he isn't too consistent, but still a young player. I just think that might be a big upside pick for the week.
Okay, I feel like there's not too many forward options to talk about, just because I can't see too many people trading out forward line player. But I think George has already mentioned Butters. I think the other thing you could look at is the high upside key forwards in easy matchups that are going for Coleman wins. So Hawkins without Jeremy Cameron against West Coast, I think he's 7 behind the leader at the moment, so he needs to kick 8 or 9. And Tom Lynch is in the same boat against Essendon, needs to kick about a 7 or 8 or something to be in contention as well. So you could have a little bit of a sneaky gamble on one of those two if you wanted to go for a high upside key forward. Okay. Now, I think that's everything. We got vice captain and captain, but before we jump into it, I just wanted to get a quick pulse check of who's going to take up the final spot in the 8. Is it going to be, there's 3 teams in it. There's Carlton, the Dogs, and St Kilda.
Let's write the Saints off. I don't want to be too rude, but they can definitely win against Sydney, I think, but they need to build up like too much percentage to even get there. So, whilst they might pull off the biggest upset of the round, I don't think they can make that much percentage up anyway. Yep. And Sydney are playing for top 2. That'll be awfully hard. So, really, it's down to the Dogs, who probably get the job done against Hawthorn, you would think, if they have enough heart in them to know that they can control their own destiny there and just have to do what's required. But it just comes down to the big game, boys. Who's going to win? Is Carlton going to get the job done and get in? Or, the Pies are playing for top 4 as well. That's the thing.
That could legitimately have 90,000 there.
Has to.
At the G. Yeah, because Pies will be playing for top 4. And
Blues have been turning up as well.
Blues are playing for a spot in the 8.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hard one.
Who we tip this far out? I think the Blues might win. I just think they played really well on Saturday night. I know they lost and a few things went wrong in the last couple of minutes, but I think they look really good, especially undermanned, playing, Doc in the midfield. It was not too bad. Cripps is playing quite well. if Sammy lifts and plays a good game, I think they can dominate the midfield, and they got the big forwards as well. So I don't even know what the odds are, but I think I'd tip the Blues. What about you, George?
Don't know. This is why I don't tip.
I hate tipping, by the way.
I think Collingwood probably better at winning, and then they desperately need that big body in the midfield, because what's been happening with Collingwood is they've been getting destroyed in the midfield, but because they're so efficient going forward, they've just been scraping through. So they can be efficient again. I think they'll get up. Otherwise, no. I'll say Pies.
Bookie's got it even, JD. $1.92 a piece. Can't be split.
For who gets in?
Just for the game, which, Collingwood versus...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Collingwood would be more.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do believe that Collingwood are pretenders. The percentage is a big deal.
Port have more percentage than the Collingwood.
Yep.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Fun stat.
Yeah.
I think Carlton get in, but I'd be much more interested in seeing the Dogs and the 8 again. Just like watching them as a team. So
true.
They really should be. Fifth will play probably Brisbane, Melbourne, or
could be Freo.
Yeah.
So what it is Brisbane, Melbourne, obviously really big game. Whoever wins top 4, whoever loses 6th, pretty much. Assuming Freo win.
Yep.
And then obviously Tigers are pretty much locked into 7th unless they lose to the Bombers, but can't see that probably happening. So the only way it's not one of those two teams is if Collingwood loses, then it'll be Collingwood in 6th. So it could be Collingwood Tigers for elimination finals. So yeah, big games. Friday nights, huge as well. Whoever needs to lock in top 4.
Yeah, it's good. There's a couple of really interesting games to finish out the week. A lot of dead games, a lot of really dead games.
A lot of dead games, but at least 3 that are important.
Yeah.
They're really important.
Cool. All right. Captain, vice captain. I think it's pretty easy this week. Took Miller's playing North, so I think he's got to be in your plans either as a vice captain or a captain. On Friday night, maybe you can consider Oliver against Brisbane if you don't have any other options. Otherwise, Laird against Port Adelaide seems like the safe money for the captain. Any other thoughts or considerations in those 3?
Well, I think it's, do you use your VC on Friday on Oliver or Neil?
I have to. Not have to, but I am. Just because of how it works. I don't have any great options outside of them that I trust enough to put I trust Tuke to put the captaincy on, but he's probably have to be the VC, which means are you putting it on Steele? Are you putting it on Merritt against Richmond? Are you putting it on, I don't know, McRae? Do we trust him again against Hawthorn?
No.
Exactly. So that means I'm putting it on Neil or Clary Friday night, and then happy enough to roll into Tuke if need be.
I like
to do Cripps, by the way,
Cripps and Walsh
scheduling.
Yeah, same time. I was just thinking it's too hard. It's so hard to pass up on Tuke when everyone in the rest of the comp will have it on Tuke.
Yeah. I think Cripps and Walsh. Yeah, backups. Yeah. Would you rather that falling onto them possibly if I don't know whatever happens to Tuke, or would you rather go
top 2000
Friday night into Tuke?
I think Friday into Tuke.
You said
I think I'll go. I think I'll go Neil. I think Neil's
Clary
playing for a Brownlow here.
Neil's
like clear favorite at the moment. I think he can secure Brownlow with a good game, and this is Brisbane's like one of their biggest games for the past 10 years. I know they've had finals, but this is like they got to make top 4 here. The MCG hoodoo, it's massive. I think Neil. I think I'll be VC Neil. Yeah,
go to Clary.
Yeah, VC Neil C Tuke for me.
Yeah. Anything different, JD? Or
VC
as well?
No, VC took C Laird.
Yeah, okay. You're not worried about Drew? Like I don't know, George is?
Hopefully you won't need to use it.
Don't think it'll happen. I think it's just because it was used this week.
He can work through them anyway.
If I get spooked, it'll be Cripps against Collingwood, I think.
Watching them at the countdown seconds and see if he goes to him.
Yeah, but
I've never done that, by the way. Do you guys do that ever? I know George does for sure.
The problem is that the TV delays usually.
Yeah, you gotta have Foxtel, don't you?
It's usually too much for you to be able to make the swap. And if they don't show the right angle, it's hard to tell which player's walking where. And so you try and do it, and it's like, oh, the game's already been locked out. So, which is never any good. Otherwise, like Sicily against the Dogs is a smoky as well. If you wanted to go really left field,
I trust probably not trust, but I'd be happy to go to Merritt if you wanted to VC too. We aren't gonna touch him, but my problem is Essendon. Do they care enough to put in any sort of a performance?
The one that I think is interesting, which none of us have, which I'm not talking about him, is actually Max Gawn on the Friday against Big O. Big O's been giving up some ruck scores. And I think Gawn's the type that'll stand up again in that type of matchup, and he's got the big ceiling. He's got a 160 in him. He's pretty easy to vice captain option. It's usually either a good score or a bad score. It's not too much in between, or not as much in between as what you'd see with others. So that's the other one I think you like. But Miller and Tillett for me.
Yep.
Okay, let's wrap it up then with some Q&A. George asked the Discord. And I think he's already passed through and picked out the PG questions. So should we get cracking into those? Who's going to read them out for us this week?
I can read them.
All right.
So we've been over a few of these, but best Sinclair replacement outside of Sicily or Dawson. Mine was Gus. As one word.
Different. For 1 week, I said Hearn. JD said.
I actually don't mind Doherty as well against Pies, given that he was playing in the midfield, which I haven't really talked about much. But if he plays the midfield again against Pies, good. If he plays in defense against Pies, I think it's probably pretty good still as well.
Or was it just in parts? What does his CBAs look like?
It was like 70%. It was basically the whole game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Next question is, if you could see one out of Walsh, Doherty, or Cripps, who would you go? Probably go Cripps.
Cripps.
I'll go Sammy.
Player to pick in 2023 that you've never owned before?
I was going to say no, I have owned him.
I'll start. I like Rosie, slightly underpriced. Another preseason. CBA is sometimes sub 50, which is annoying. So I don't know if they're going to continue that, but see how he goes in the preseason. But priced at 90, then you can do 100. So
that's a good call. Never owned before. There's guys I haven't owned this year, but have owned before that I would like to say, but that's cheating. You got one, JD?
Rosie was actually the one that was at.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the midfield, like Warner, LDU, and Anderson are probably the three that I'm looking at, but none of them are locks. They're all watches.
Damn, I feel like I've owned like a lot of these guys, even if it's for like. Would you be own Rosie as a rookie? No.
No, I've never owned Dillmore in Supercoach. So Dillmore.
Yeah, good one. Good one. I'll say LDU because he's the best I can think of right now that I haven't owned. I wanted to say like Hayden Young, but no.
Yeah, Young we've owned before. Yep.
I swear, did we own Rosie? No, maybe not. He was too expensive at the time as a rookie.
I never had him as a rookie actually that year.
Yeah, I don't think many did actually. Anyway, yep.
What about? Have you ever owned Taranto before?
Shut up.
What do you mean? Shut up.
2020, we got tormented by him.
Oh yeah, of course.
No, I was Cogs. I had Cogs. Yeah. You had Taranto. Cogs got dropped in the midfield. My premier mid got dropped.
But good, Bang Bros.
But yeah, he is looking like he's heading to the Tigers as far as I'm aware. But if he is, I think that's a pretty good pick. But
should get proper CBAs.
Different question.
Thoughts on Brandon Ellis? 5-run average of 116, took 7 of 9 kick-ins. Plays North.
Wow, did not know he was going that well. Oh, he's taken the monopoly actually in the last 6 weeks. Brando.
Yeah.
Brando Ellis.
Yeah. We've talked about Ellis. Shout out to Mini Monk who traded him in for fantasy. Only person to 100 on him. He's like rocketed him up the ranks because he's gone big last 2 weeks. Yeah.
I don't see why this doesn't continue. No reason why it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I think that's good for a 1 weeker actually. We could add him into the Sinclair options, I think. Sort of missed him.
Next question is 2 players each on the never again list you can think of this year. I want to say Tim English. I've had enough of that, of the old pinhead.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
And I'm going to say probably universal one here. This is not never again for you, but Jack Crisp is he's donezo.
I wonder if I've ever owned. No, I don't think I have. I just
Are you excited about owning Jack Crisp next year, Edo?
Yeah, no, fantasy might still be an alright pick. Play midfield, but not in this game. Not in this game. You got one, JD? You got a couple?
Never again's a little bit tough. I mean, Crisp is the one that I would say. Obviously, like the one that I know I should say every year is like GWS players. Like I should probably never pick Whitfield again. I should probably never pick Josh Kelly again.
Absolutely not Josh Kelly. I picked him in other two formats, and oh my god, no way, no way.
But I don't know. I can't say never for these guys. I just can't. It's probably the oldies, which is like the cop-out answer, but like Aaron Hall,
Zorko.
Zorko. Those are probably
because you did own him.
Yeah, DeGoey is probably very close to the never again list as well.
This is a weird one, maybe because maybe it's not, but Patrick Cripps, I'm just never going to go there ever again. And I know it hasn't worked as bad as it has for me, for a lot of you people, a lot of you guys. But the fact I brought him in and got 3 tons, trade him out when he just after that 84 in round 18. If you want to bring up these scores, didn't own him for the first 2 months. Brought him in, got 3 tons and about 8 non-tons, and then he's averaged about 130 for the last month without him. So if I get my calculator out, it's probably 130 out of my team and 100 in. So just let's never go there again. Never put myself through it, just so I don't have to worry about it.
Someone also asks Gus Brayshaw versus Himmelberg. Gus.
Yep.
Just for this week, yeah, Gus.
Yep.
Probably. Yep. Could both be options next year.
Final question: if you guys can recall the best AFL game of the home and away season this year, I like the showdown when Dawson kicked the goal after the siren. Obviously, not the best game, but I thought I had one of the best endings when the ball swung back.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I thought Saturday night was really good. Just for the ending as well. But if we're talking overall game, maybe not as good.
Actually, for overall game, Tigers versus Geelong.
Yes, good call.
2 weeks ago.
There. No, that was about a month or so ago. That was back and forth in the last quarter. Maybe some people might say the Gold Coast one. Noah Anderson, that was good as well. Not for me, but Pies D's as well. 2 weeks ago, Friday night, that was massive as well.
That was a good one.
It's been a lot of good games, I feel, this year.
I think
hopefully many more to come.
When Essendon beat the Crows, that was pretty good just because of the smack talk between George and I in the Discord. That was pretty good.
How's the picks going? Who's getting picked?
They got nasty that game. I was going off. Oh my god.
Otherwise, I think some of the suggestions the Pies against D's I really enjoyed, and then the Cats Tigers game I thought was really good too. I think those are both really good options. I'm sure that's a lot of recency bias. There are other games in the year which were as good, but
theatre as well.
When stakes were on the line, stakes.
Theatre, Stewart in that game, and then the Ed Langdon thing. Although that's that was probably overplayed, but a bit of theatre as well in those 2 games.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I was just looking. Jaws, Crom, they're playing too well. The 3-game win streak. No pick 4, mate.
Yeah, I do
like they've done this before.
I do like having. I don't mind losing if it means a good draft pick. Sometimes
I feel like they put a win streak together at the end of every season, just to get higher up the ladder.
False hope. Eases the pain of 7 busted first-round picks in a row or whatever it is.
What's happened to Shelley, by the way?
He's been injured, I think. Yeah, hip and quad and stuff like that. Hasn't got going, but
just put him on ice.
Yeah, I think so.
He was really good.
I think we can wrap it up there. Any closing words, fellas?
Not much from me. Go Tigers. I'll be there, JD, this weekend. I know you won't be, but I'll be watching the amazing game between our two sides. I'm sure it'll be.
Yeah.
I'm actually spewing. I know I'm going to the Tigers game, but because I had to lock in one. I wish I was going to the Blues Pies. I probably should have locked that in. That'll be an absolute spectacle.
Yeah. It's actually going to be a weird game, I think, between our clubs on the weekend because, like, with all the discussions about our coach, that's going to be a lot of Essendon's pre-game like narrative is going to be around what's the mindset of the players, what are they thinking going into it, and then Tigers will either come switched on and firing, or they'll be like semi-resting for the finals based on what they've been game planning.
Could just be a real boring game.
It could be really interesting. It could be absolutely woeful. I think yeah.
So say Ben Rutten's coaching this week.
Yeah,
but if they lose, he loses his job. Are you going for the Tigers?
Mate, Caro, yeah, great source. But she's just said on Footy Classified, apparently, there's a tweet that she's saying he's done and Clarko's going to the Bombers. Like, there's so many conflicting reports. There's like two groups of journalists that are saying one thing and they're saying another. It's like,
I mean, the media fired him today is effectively what seems like happened.
And then some media rehired him.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I've got no idea what's going on. I do not wish ill of Rutten. So if that was Essendon's stipulation that he has to win to keep his job this weekend, then our club is an absolute rabble. That's not how you decide who should be coaching.
If he is gone, they've seen it as a play to get Clarko.
Yeah.
What percentage chance would it? Like, are they just giving themselves a 20% chance? Is it worth getting Rutten just to give yourself a little bit of a chance, or are you not okay with that?
You'd have to be pretty confident you're getting a good replacement coach, like that. You're not just taking someone.
So if you don't get Clarko, who are you getting?
Yeah, well, I mean, like we've seen McRae and Longmire as well. They've been like good coaches that weren't well known, and I think Essendon was originally hoping the same with Rutten. I wasn't opposed to giving him a third year just to see what plays out. I think trying to evaluate a coach in 2 years with a young list is hard. So I would have been happy for them to wait one more, but yeah, is what it is. If Clarko's available, then I can see why they've made a play for that. It's just weird because those experienced coaches haven't seemed to play out well at second or third clubs from coaching roles. And I guess if anyone's going to break the mold, it's Clarko, but I'm pretty worried that we're going to pay a lot for Clarko and it'll just be more dead years for Essendon.
Clarko's great, but is he getting like praise as Jesus Christ right now? Do you think is it a bit?
It's being way overhyped. Like, let's not pretend he had like a bad list or anything like that. It's not like he.
Oh, they got really good in the draft.
Yeah,
mate. They're like Jordan Lewis, Roughhead, and what?
Yeah, they had like
the same draft.
Yeah, generationally good draft combined with like game plan that had a significant advantage over others. That, like, they had two competitive advantages. Yeah. Essendon has none. So like
You guys are good at drafting sub 180 centimeter players. Good advantage.
So good.
Hey,
we're really good at that.
He's good.
Yeah, Mass is good. Mass is good. The problem is they're all good players. They are good players, but we do need some high.
All of them.
Yeah. Like, they're all good, but like, unfortunately, they're not gonna. Anyway, let's not talk about Essendon. Maybe it's a conversation.
We'll do a Bombers podcast later this week to finish this conversation.
Well, once Supercoach is over, we're still doing these, so we'll talk more footy.
Should be good. All right, thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.